Good morning and welcome to Minneapolis Public Schools. My name is Donnie Belcher. I am the Executive Director of Communications and Engagement. Welcome to our Minneapolis Public Schools, Minneapolis Federation of Educators joint press conference. We're going to start with acknowledging Native American Heritage Month with our MPS land acknowledgement. Minneapolis Public Schools sits and operates on the homeland of our Dakota relatives, and today we recognize, honor, and celebrate the heritage, cultures, and valuable contributions to society, past and present, from the original inhabitants of this land, Turtle Island. In Minnesota Makoche, we highlight our 11 tribes and communities of both our Dakota and Anishinaabe relatives who are still here. Our program will begin with remarks from MFE Speaker President Marcia Howard, followed by President Katina Taylor. Starting with President Howard.
Good morning, and it is a good morning. A few months ago, we embarked on a journey with Minneapolis Public Schools, Minneapolis Federation of Educators made a decision to start the bargaining process a mere 4 months after our last contract was actually printed. We said we would bargain in the spring so that we could get it wrapped up before the snow flies. We thought that it would be a fairly fast-paced process. We were going to begin new practices. It didn't quite go the way we wanted it to go, because in order to begin these new practices, we had to begin practicing trust and collaboration with a relationship that had formerly been adversarial, for good reason. All of us in the district and in the union and in the community and even in the classroom have been hearing from the outside about the travails of Minneapolis Public Schools, and that noise has sort of deafened us to what was great about Minneapolis Public Schools, about our educators, about the families, about the people who chose to move to this city, about all that made Minneapolis, Minnesota a great place to be. And we had to sit across from each other at a table and remember who we are. And that took a little bit more time than we thought it would. But when the dust settled and we actually stopped being mediated and start talking and listening to each other, we realized that we had a lot more in common in our vision, in our values, in our way of thinking about the funds, about our students, about the staff, about our vision for the future of Minneapolis Public Schools. And that's when we started cooking with gas, y'all. That's when we started actually getting things done around adult pay parity, adult education pay parity, around wages for our educators, around class sizes. Being in a room with nerds all around me, doing math, and the numbers started making sense to both sides. It was astonishing to witness. Things started making sense to both sides. I am exhausted, and yet I'm invigorated by what we have seen in this building in the last week, especially considering the folks that have stepped up, including members of the Board of Education, like our chair, Colin Beachy, the superintendent, even folks from the staff, folks that you might not have seen before. Ryan Strack, I see you. Ibrahima Diop, who came back from around the corner to start explaining things that we might not have understood before, that we might still be fighting about. But we started talking. Nothing will get done until something gets done. But now, going forward, Minneapolis Federation of Educators, Local 59, and Minneapolis Public Schools will be doing it together because we are MFE and we are MPS. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Katina Taylor here. I am the Educational Support Professional President of the Minneapolis Federation of Educators, Local 59. Hey, this is a glorious morning. I am just so glad that we got the deal done. Everything that we have done is for our students. I have learned that we don't need a third party to help us out with when it comes down to speaking with our district. I think that we can do this do this together. We will start breaking the past practices of being adversarial toward one another and building better relationships so that we could get these contracts done for our students and staff a little bit more faster, easier, and smoother. As you all know, I had the faith from the beginning that we would get this done. And so I am so happy. I will say that, all of the things, we may not have won all of the big things. We still have work to do. But I will say that we are steps closer to winning all of the things for our students and staff and making this a destination district. And so that's all I got to say. Thank you all.
Thank you, President Howard and President Taylor. We will now hear remarks from our Minneapolis Public Schools Speaker, Chair Colin Beachy, followed by Superintendent Dr. Sells Adams.
I'm going to introduce this man. And I said that I would. I said this about a week ago that I was going to introduce you when it came to a press conference because I had been looking for a grown-up in the room. I needed a grown-up in the room when we were in mediation. And when our contract action team, who has been so incredibly strong, had all of our members energized and organized, my field was ahead of our table. That's how we were getting things done. And I was like, I can't hold our members back. And then the families, they were ahead of the table. I'm like, these families are organized and energized. And the person who was the responsive came through and showed up repeatedly. It was this man, Colin Beachy. He showed up. And I really want to give him that respect that when in those darkest times of these negotiations, he showed up. So I want to introduce the chair of the Board of Education, Colin Beachy.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for being here. I am certainly not as articulate as the two speakers who came before, but I do have some things that I'd like to share. I agree with what they have said here, that this is an important day for Minneapolis Public Schools, and it's not just because we have a tentative agreement. This day represents renewal, and this day represents a recommitment to our students and to our staff. It's come in the form of a new superintendent bringing fresh energy and stability, union leadership dedicated to partnership, a new board committed to transparency and accountability, and a renewed sense of purpose for everyone in this system. Today, we can say that collaboration won out over confrontation. Together, we've crafted an agreement that values our educators, protects our students, and respects the financial future of our district. As chair of the board, I've seen firsthand how much dedication this process requires. I'll be honest with you, this has been the toughest stretch of my time being on the board. But it's also shown me how committed our people are to this district. Their quiet persistence, showing up day after day, is what turned uncertainty into agreement. This deal reflects a balance of compassion and discipline. It moves us towards smaller class sizes and stronger supports for our staff, while also keeping our fiscal house in order so that these changes will last. Our educators deserve respect. Our students deserve stability. And our community deserves confidence that we are responsible stewards of the public trust. This agreement delivers on all three. I want to sincerely thank you to everyone who showed up, who stayed late, asked the hard questions, and refused the easy answers. Thank you to our students who may not follow every headline and may not follow this process, but rely on us to keep our promise. Let's take this win, let's catch our breath, and then let's get back to doing what we do best, serving our students with heart, purpose, and pride. I am proud of what we did today, and I am optimistic about what we're going to do next. I want to thank you all.
Thank you, Chair Beachy. We will now hear from Superintendent Dr. Lisa Sells-Adams.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I am Dr. Lisa Sells-Adams, the very proud superintendent of Minneapolis Public Schools. I'd like to start by saying that in Minneapolis Public Schools, we have strong schools, vibrant communities, but we are one district. So you already heard from our very strong and courageous leaders that we have moved past the divisiveness. So this contract is a victory for our students, our schools, our community, and our staff. It's for everyone. So when you think about Minneapolis Public Schools, we are a destination district, and we are committed to making sure that our students have what they need, and we don't have time to waste not working together, because we are always stronger together. And you heard from my colleagues here, that's what we are going to do. That's actually what we've been doing. So I know that President Howard kind of talked about the divisiveness. I didn't experience that. So we have been partnering since I've arrived in 2024. And for our team that went through this negotiations process, I know it was hard, I know it was long and it was arduous, but look at the work that we did together. We collaborated, we shared ideas, we were creative, and as Chair Beachy talked about, within the resources that we have. So we have to be responsible stewards, and that's what this contract represents. One thing that I also want to share is that when I started my first teaching job nearly 30 years ago, I taught in a school on these grounds. It was called Broadway Community School, and I was a member of, it was then called the Minneapolis Federation of Teachers. We are now working with MFE. So this is where I cut my teeth, where I really learned how to be an educator and what it really means to put our students first. I never look back. So I want to thank Minneapolis Public Schools, but colleagues here for making me who I am today. But we will work together, we will partner, we will leverage our expertise. We are very smart, we are very tenacious, and we have what we need to make sure that Minneapolis Public Schools remains vibrant and that our children have what they need. So I want to thank our educators. I want to thank our negotiators, all of our staff, the countless staff that were a part of this. So I know you see people sitting here today. There's so many people that are a part of this settled or tentative settlement for our contract. So this was a all hands on deck, and I'm very, very proud of you all. And I'm excited to see where we're going to go together and how all of our children will prosper. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sells Adams. We now have time for a few questions, followed by our ceremonial signing of the tentative agreements. If you have questions, now is the time. We have time for a few. If you can just say your name and outlet. So that question will go to Natasha Doctor.
Hello, everyone. My name is Natasha Doctor, First Vice President of the Teacher Chapter at MFE, and I lead our ratification process. So this tentative agreement is now in the hands of our members. They will have the next several days to review it and ask questions, and then they will vote on Thursday and Friday about whether or not to approve the tentative agreement, and then the contract will be ratified if the majority of our members vote to approve it. I will say that I think our members are very excited about the wins that are in this deal. There's always more work to do, but several of our members are excited about this deal.
Okay, so we will send that to Dr. Sells Adams.
So thank you for that question. We've been going through a budget process for the past several years, and we're very clear on where we stand with our budget, with our resources, but also making sure that we do not continue to have our expenses outpace our revenue. So based off of that, we looked at the budget that we have at hand. So our board approved a budget in June. We already had a deficit. So we wanted to make sure that we didn't make that grow expansively. And then we were just really honest with our negotiators, and we showed them our 5-year projection. This is what we have, and these are the resources that we have that are available. And I am so thankful that you all were responsive. And this is where that trust comes in, to have an understanding of these are the resources that we have. And then that's, I believe, how we really came to an understanding of we can do many things within this amount, and that's what happened.
Okay, any more questions? Tony?
Tony, when we first started reviewing, is there a price tag for this? And given it's 2 years, and you're in the year where you have to deal with, I believe it was a $75 million deficit to start with, and then next year we're projecting $25 million at least. Is there a total price tag, number one? Number two, do you have them by each year, and will this increase the deficits?
That question is going to go to our senior human resources officer as well as our lead negotiator.
Oh. Thank you for the question. I think, Donnie, if it's okay with you, we'll follow up in writing with that information.
And here we have our 2 lead negotiators who will be signing that tentative agreement shortly. That question will go to President Howard.
For anyone who had seen well, frankly, my social media and saw that we were working tirelessly on both sides, staying at BMS, the Bureau of Mediation Services, till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. That final day of mediation, we were there for about 15 hours and didn't see each other. Both teams didn't really lay eyes on each other. And so it seemed as if we were miscommunicating. And so we didn't get a date until, well, frankly, today. So we would have had a week and not have seen each other until the day before the strike. And so wisely, they offered to just meet here either at MFE or the Davis Center. And they very generously offered up the Davis Center for us to just meet across the table and talk. And that is what we did. I don't know if you could call it bargaining or mediation or meaty barga talkawing. I don't know what you called it, but there were people in a room with a shared purpose. And meanwhile, our members were still going about the business of getting ready to do what we had planned on doing if we did not settle the contract. And so MFE continued to show its power while MPS continued to show its commitment to settling the contract. And that is what we did. And I am so incredibly proud that we can say that we managed to settle a contract before the snow flied. So, so yeah, that's how we did it.
Our first meeting was this past Wednesday here at the Davis Center. If you have any follow-up questions, you can do so after we do the signing. We just kind of want to respect and honor people's time. So we will bring up our lead negotiators, Senior Officer Miller and Liz Dunn from MFE. And then we'll now take a couple of group photos if everyone can stand behind the podium. And then we'll have time for individual questions for anyone who has follow-up.